All right. So I want to make sure to get in here early. I've been having so many problems with this with the internet and everything. I think anyway, I cleaned off the computer today. Put a bunch of stuff on the external. Seems like it's making some kind of difference. Um, so yeah, we have 12 minutes to go before I'm going to start doing this stuff and click on over to the live drawing part of the program, which is all has to do with the giveaway, the raffle. I mean, for the Hugo jacket that is the Junker Designs Blade Runner jacket. I'm gonna keep pushing this thing till I sell the 2,000 tickets. So that's how long this contest is gonna go on. And I've been trying to hook up with a couple of big time YouTubers. There's Anna and Odin have expressed some interest to talk about it, talk about Alita and stuff some more. So we'll see if that happens. We're just getting people's schedules lined up is always a pain in the butt. So if you guys hang tight till 7, we'll start knocking this drawing out. I want to get this stuff done. I came up with some new ideas, so there's going to be some. Got to work on the body some more. The head, I think I found the head that I like. So that shouldn't change really. I don't think too much. It's just I can't help but get too detailed on all this stuff, so I have to know when to pull it back. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a pretty detailed probably drawing because I can't help myself, and then come back with tracing paper and do the simplified drawing. So then we'll see the simplified drawing will be the one that's going to be on the t-shirt. I think it was the last episode. If you guys checked out the last episode, I showed a t-shirt that I got from Five Below that was like a really good spot color, very low detail. I think it's Empire Strikes Back shirt. They have actually really great Star Wars stuff at Five Below. I think they're in California. I know they're in Texas. I'm not sure where they are, but it's not the dollar store, but it's the below $5 store. So I like that place a lot. A lot. So yeah, I got a shirt there, and it has like spot colors that make no sense. And yeah. So just hang tight for 9 more minutes. And yeah. I'm going to grab a piece of pizza and stuff it in my flavor hole really fast, and then we're going to get this stuff started. Um, I just want to say, nothing. Can you hear my pizza sound? All right. All right. So you can hear all the action going on over here. It's kind of what we got so far. And this is pretty much going to work on a bunch of this detail work. Got my coffee. Just ate some Disgusto pizza. And I have my reference sheets. I have my, I think this is the face I'm going to go for. Still working on the goggles. Now I'm trying to knock out a bunch of this kind of stuff. There's tons of details in here. Like I said, I'm going to do this like pretty detailed and then come back and knock it all back down again. And so that's the plan. That's the plan for this. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start drawing. If you have any questions, shoot away. And yeah, this is it. Like all this stuff is, amazing Weta digital work. None of this was built. I was just wearing my gray suit when we did the film. So this was all the production. I mean, you can see that John Balboni, or I think Baroni is his name, did some really cool production art of the. This is his production art right here. And I don't know who did some. There was more pieces of art that we got when we were working on it. But this is the one I really like. I have a big poster of this too. So I can put in my office and remember this for all times. So it's just like about figuring out all this nonsense that's kind of on here. I'm just gonna knock all this stuff out. Like I said, I get pretty detailed, but we're gonna knock it all back down again. So he's got two kind of bars going to this cutting arm. And then this other thing's kind of hard to tell what's going on exactly with the big pinchers, but I'm taking a lot of artistic license to make these things a lot more like talons, I guess. Kind of looks like just like part of a shovel or like some heavy moving equipment or something. It looks more like a shovel. So I'm going to come in and try and make it look a little bit more menacing. This is the big claw in action here. Now, for you guys who haven't really heard the story about this before, I don't mind telling it. I like telling it. I, basically bothered Robert until I was able to play this guy Exploder, because I knew from being in the costume department that there's not somebody cast for the part yet. When I started to talk to him about it. And what happens on these on these big budget films, you got to picture, there's only X amount of dollars that they have to get actors to do stuff, and you bring them in, as close to the shooting date as is humanly possible, because otherwise you got to pay for more hotel time and all that other stuff. So, which is probably why when you have these kind of supporting roles, if you even want to call it a supporting role, these people are not cast until the very, very last minute, sometimes the day before. I don't remember if it's gone any much tighter than that. I don't think we did any day of people, but day before, and you just gotta be able to figure it out. You have to be able to go in there. And you kind of guess, what the costume size is going to be. Depending on who it is, you can get all of the measurements and stuff early. And then Other times you just don't really know, and so you have to start making a costume. So by default, I think what it is on Alita. I think we just make stuff in size large, and then that way it's usually pretty easy to make it smaller if you have to. And generally, the other people are not super huge, so we didn't have to make. I don't think we got stuck making anything bigger. Is what I'm trying to say. So this guy has a lot of weird little kind of like doohickeys and stuff in here. Excuse me, I'm full of cheese. So it's kind of hard to see what's going on in the production. Well, this is a screen grab that I'm looking at. This is a guy, Stephen Gregory, I know, did these screen grabs for me. He's in England. He's acted in tons of stuff. He's in, I think, every Star Wars film they made. The new stuff. He's like a background background extra. He's an extra expert, I think, is what you would probably call him. That's his speciality. So this stuff goes down, and there's some really big, kind of like shouldery piece back here that, perspective-wise, you probably really wouldn't see it. I don't know if I need it. I can take it back out. Back on here, I don't know what this is. Looks like a part of a chainsaw engine. It looks like there's kind of another stabilizing bar, like right in here. And I don't know why I do this, but I pretty much draw in pencil. And I make all my lines dark enough where I can take this into Photoshop later and then make it look kind of like pen and ink drawing, because I like to keep my lines like pretty hardcore, pretty dark, and then I can usually tweak it in Photoshop. It's no big deal for me to do that. And I'm trying to figure out the different angle we'd be at. So that would be. There's like another crazy like plate kind of thing right here. I'm gonna build it off. I think this looking weird plate thing. There's another pivot point kind of in here, and then this thing that looks like part of a lawnmower or chainsaw engine, like that. And it's got a couple little vent looking things. And then this is, you can't even really tell what's going on in here. And a lot of these screen grabs, you can't really tell what you're looking at. As you can tell, like, he's totally different on both sides. Like, this braking system is really up high, like over here on this wheel. And then this leg over here has a totally different setup. It's like more of a spoke. So yeah, none of this stuff side to side is exactly the same. This is pretty. The chest is pretty easy to figure out. So I'm not too concerned about that. This. I think this is pretty good in there. This piston, big piston piece, which is this, I think. And just draw it kind of like a big piston like that. Too bad I don't know someone at Weta, they could send some of the files, I can actually see like what's going on in this stuff a lot better. There's that. He's got these huge blower kind of things on the shoulders. So if we look at, if we look down in here, so we got the chest. I think that's pretty good. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Now the head's gonna have to get shrunk down and stuck in there because the head is I didn't like this head at all, so the head was redrawn. He's got some weird kind of a plate thing here. I'm just gonna lightly sketch this in because I still have to put the head in and see how the head's gonna fit. It's got like a totally different attitude than the other head that I drew. And this comes back. You can see these big shoulder piece is in here. Now I have to use some artistic license because I don't know how this whole, I would think that there'd be more space here to make this whole rocket, be able to shoot, across his body like I'm trying to do with my drawing. So I'm just pretending that there's like a lot more space in here, and that way it makes sense to try to pull off. Hey, Mark, what's going on? To try and pull off what I'm trying to pull off, which is him shooting kind of across his body, and I'm gonna have him shooting 3 fireballs. So it's gonna be like kind of an animation, cheap animation. If you kind of see it up here. The comic book version of the motion blur will kind of come up through here, like this arm is going like that. I just thought, 3 fireballs coming out might be cooler. So this one I'll make, like just barely coming out. This one will be farther, and then this one will be farther over there. It's kind of the plan. So if you can kind of see that. So now we're back to this weird, it was just this weird, like kind of a venty kind of a piece. And my perspective is probably a little bit off on this thing as well. The vent kind of goes like this. It's just really hard to tell like what this is supposed to be doing. I guess this is like the housing or something. The housing for his arm, I guess. But he has them on both sides. But so we're gonna do that. So that's kind of like the housing part. This kind of comes down, and because my take on this guy is my perspective is a little more wackadoo. I have to kind of just guess what's in here. It gives you pretty good indications with the with this art you can see here. It's kind of hard to see, but it looks like a speaker. So it's got some little black areas in here. This could probably come over a little bit more and kind of cover up part of this little doohickey here. And then this, I don't know, this is all like, kind of like garbage. You can't really tell in this art at all, like what's in here. So when I do it, I'm just guessing. There's just some weird, like kind of structures back here. This thing probably flaps back around like this, I would imagine. So this would end up being probably mostly blacked out, this whole area. And you see my arm is positioned differently. Hey Bonnie, what's up? How you guys doing? I actually started early again. I wasn't really drawing that much early, but trying to, get this stuff going a little bit better. It seems to be working good today. What I did is I ended up taking a bunch of stuff off the computer and put it on an external. Look at that. Look at that nice iced coffee. I put a bunch of it on the external. I don't know how much that had to do with it, but it seemed like it helped. Next, I'm going to get a different setup for the camera, because right now it's kind of mounted in this ring. It's mounted in a ring light, and it's hard for me to get it directly over the place where I'm drawing. Also, I end up hitting it with my hands and my head a lot because it's right above me, and it's not the best way to draw. But I mean, whatever on that. So that is what it is. But I think the other situation maybe has been sorted out a little bit more, like the streaming part. My best, technological terror, like everything I touch that has to do with tech related, I just destroy it. I can't help myself. I don't know what I do, but I just destroy. So let's look at, so this would be all black. There's like this weird piece of metal here that looks like it's kind of like some folded like sheet metal, like kind of like a little weird brackety piece. So that's going to be like right here. So that's good. Inside here is a bunch of garbage that's hard to identify. So like the new head is this guy, and facing like this, I think, more. So it's not in scale, and I have to knock it down a bunch. But if you look at this art, like the head is really like set in there. This is a screen grab. The head is really, seems like it's like really in there, like deep in there. So this guy's like, the whole thing with the neck, I don't know how much that's really going to work. But I like the idea of like his, looking like this, and Alita's like whoosh, just did a loop, and he's like firing his three shots here. So it'd be like bam, 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 fireballs coming out, and he would have to be looking this way, so he'd have to be like this giant ass head. So that would mean that his giant ass head would be more. We can just kind of rough it in. And also, like, I drew the head way too big this other time, which I don't know how much that really, matters. But I think, if we want to try and do that, the neck idea, I mean, I would put his head, I'd say he's kind of like this. And the head's smaller. The neck would be going down into this. There's some kind of like cylinder thing in here, like a Tuscan Raider, is what it looks like to me. I don't know what it is exactly. So that's kind of down in there. You can see it. That's what I think this is. If you guys can see that. It's kind of whatever this thing is. Looks like kind of like some cylinder-looking pieces piled up. So I'm just gonna say that's what it is, but I think that it's like some cylinders. And you know, all these guys, when they take them out, they take out their head and their spine, and they just stick them in these. They stick them in the new chassis, which is these like these their fighting bodies or whatever. So so it's really a head and a spine. So it could be in there like pretty weirdly, I guess. Perspective wise, I guess. Or I mean, it's not. You don't have to cram a human chest and any of that other stuff in there. All that stuff is gone. It's just the head, and then it's just like the part of the spine. Like you saw when they take Garushka apart when he's getting repaired. You can see that they take his head out and he's got a weird, gross, maggoty spine thing. So that's what all these guys look like. Or what they're kind of supposed to look like when you take them out, when you are putting them into their like fighting body, and that's what this is. They're like assassin's body or whatever. So I'm just doing this for scale, and yeah, this is gonna be turned into a screen print, and it's gonna be turned into a hey banana. It's gonna be turned into a screen print and a sticker. Hey. So my kids learn how to communicate, but it's just, you can hear her. So that's her all-purpose, pay attention to me sound, and she's off to my right-hand side trying to press her face through like the dog door thing we have. Well, it's like a gate, like a dog gate. So if you can continue to hear squeaks and grunts, that's because she's over there trying to cause troubles. So back to this guy. Yeah. So the idea, Mark, is this is part of that Hugo jacket giveaway. So when you buy a raffle ticket, you're gonna win. What am I trying to say? So when you buy a raffle ticket with your chance to win the Hugo jacket, even if you do not win the Hugo jacket, you're still not a loser. You still get something, and what you get is Exploder Lives is the idea behind this T-shirt. Since that's my character, and I want to be in a bunch of these movies, and this is also going to be turned into a sticker. So you get the Exploder Lives T-shirt, you get a sticker as part of the giveaway. You also get 2 Junker patches, and you get a Junker sticker, and that's just for getting the raffle ticket. But I have to sell 2,000. That's like the catch. To make this work, so I can afford to do this, all the prizes, and do everything for everybody, and make sure everyone feels like a winner and all that. And that's the only way to make it work. Is I have to make sure to sell 2,000 of these tickets. And I should have looked before. I can look right now, actually. I'll tell you guys where we're at. I can look really quickly in my big cartel and figure it out. So let's see. Let's go into products. And I want you guys to know, so we know how much work has to be done. That's a good question. So on the T-shirt, so Mark had a question about the detail. These screen prints can be super detailed, really detailed. It depends on the mesh of the screen that you use. So if you picture a screen printing, you're using a screen kind of like what's on a screen door, and that'd be like a really low mesh screen, like a 50 or a 60. And then really high mesh screens are like 300. and you know the weave is super tight. So the tighter the weave of the screen, the more detail you can get. And if I wanted to, like, there's a couple of T-shirts I've done for Junker where it's you know, really detailed pencil drawings, and they turn out really good. They turn out really good. Um, the thing is that for this, I'm going to try to make it look like Missile Command or Robotron. Like, I want it to look like the sides of those video games that I grew up with. So what I'm doing here is like really overly detailed. That's just how I draw stuff. So that's how I'm going to do it. And then what I'm going to do, once all this layout hopefully is figured out, is come back with a piece of tracing paper and probably with a couple of different pens. And I'm going to redraw it again and just pick out the basics. So I'll have like, you know, there'll be a detailed drawing and then there'll be a less detailed drawing. And, you know, people can actually win that stuff too. You can win that stuff. So, this is actually pretty depressing, but I'll tell you guys the numbers anyway so we know what's going on. So I still have to sell 1,926 raffle tickets before I can do this, the Hugo drawing for the jacket. And I guess I'm going to have to really reach out for some help. Like, this shouldn't take that long. I have you know, I have more than 1,600 followers on Instagram, but you know, none of those. You don't know how many of those people are engaging like on a daily basis. A lot of that stuff could be like dead links or dead profiles or whatever. You never know. But that's what we got to do. So that's a lot of stuff we have to get rid of still. And so I need your help, all you two guys. Or there should be, I guess there's maybe someone else in here watching. But anyway, so that's what I'm trying to let you guys know. Like, let's just be, no reason to you know, make this seem like it's bigger or better than it is or worse than it is or whatever. It is what it is. I need to sell that many more tickets before I do the drawing. So that means Alita Army, that means all these Alita sites, all these Alita people. I hope you guys will get really interested in this stuff and come buy some tickets and get this stuff going. Like, I've been posting in most of those sites. All those people are super cool. There's a bunch of groups on Instagram. There's groups on Facebook as well. I was trying to kind of take a deep dive into Reddit. And honestly, I don't even know how Reddit works. I can't figure out what's going on. I mean, I know there's Alita boards in there. I know Alita's like super popular. I just don't know how to exploit the information. I'm not sure how to post in there. Yeah. Yeah, on Facebook, I'm maxed out on friends. They only let you have 5,000 friends on there. But I mean, definitely I can, you know, I always kick people off anyway. I look in there and I'll see people that I don't have any idea who they are. I'll just take them off. So I can make sure to add somebody that I know. And, you know, no one's complained about that. So that is that. So, I mean, but I like this head, though. I like this head a lot. So right now, this is just for scale. Because in Photoshop, I'm going to add this other head. I'm not redrawing this. There's no reason to redraw this whole head. But I think, you know, scale-wise, or at least the perspective and the rough scale of the rough miniaturized version of this dude's head is probably pretty good. I still need to do some work on the goggles area, but today I just really want to get the body done. It's kind of just need to get it done. So the claw's done. This is done. We're on the chest right in here. That's got some questionable. It's kind of hard to figure out what's going on in this picture, but just do the best I can. So he's got kind of a chest plate, and he's got some nubbins on here. So we're going to call this the nubbins part. He's got like some little round stuff in there. Yeah, I like the head. I thought the head turned out pretty good. So this is more at an angle. This is more at an angle. This is kind of more at an angle. Some of this stuff doesn't make a lot of sense. Like he's got like a lot of contour lines on this piece of armor, and you can see this. This is kind of wrapped around because it's casting with like shadow right in here. Let's see if I can move this camera a little bit. I don't know if that's better or worse for you guys. All of it is fine for me. So down here, I think I made a mistake. It looks like this is like the mufflers coming out. So I had it drawn kind of more of as a tube, but this tube comes down. It seems like this then turns into a muffler that goes back this direction. So this is actually like a muffler, I believe. And we're going to take some artistic license with this. So this would be the muffler coming out of the back here. I think we can make these pipes thicker. So let's make this pipe thicker. And then this is like the muffler. High of on. So yeah, this is just artistic license shit. So I'm making this like the muffler. And then on the other side, you can kind of see on this picture, I think he's got one on the other side. You can see like another piece of pipe like way down here. And I think that that's probably the other side. But for fun, we're going to give him some like a chopper, kind of a muffler, bike muffler right here. It could be a little bit of chromed out. And so here's his arm again, this big shoulder, kind of a disc thing. So we can come in and we can really knock this armor in there. And like I said, like I don't normally ink a bunch of shit in because I just don't do it. I don't feel one way or the other about it. I mean, I'm not saying it's better or worse or any different than anything else that anyone is doing, but however you get your artwork done is how you get it done. So, and I think it just came from the idea of like, I grew up on a lot of creepy and eerie magazines, the Warren Publications magazines, and a lot of that stuff looked like, I think because it was on newsprint, it was kind of faded, and maybe just the way these guys were drawing back then, I thought it looked like pencil. I thought it had like a grayish, cool, like grayscale look to it. So I'd have to actually look at some of those to figure it out, like how they did that. So that's that. The arm, like I said, I have to make up the arm because here you can't see what the arm is. So I just kind of think about this arm, and then I just mimic this. You know, just add some like kind of like piston looking pieces. Uh, this is the little nod to C3PO, kind of little. C3PO has those really interesting elbow. Um, what would you call them? Right in here, he's got those weird, cool flexor bar looking thing on C3PO. I always loved that. So this is one, but in reverse. It's just on the backside instead. He may have one on the backside too. I don't remember. Okay, and then we get to the rocket engine, or the. We'll see. There's kind of a couple things going on here. So in the scene, they built me this rocket so I could carry it in. So I carried in a rocket. I put it on the table. And I thought it was a rocket engine that I was going to strap onto my back or something crazy in the film. I thought it was just part of my propulsion system. So I just put that on my back and I would be, going around the track. And then even when I talked to Robert on the phone, we were talking about, I was just checking in to see how the progress was. And he was looking at, I think they're called grays. Like when you see any of the behind-the-scenes stuff, like Avengers, Endgame, and all that, you'll see that they render these huge scenes, but everything is like gray. You can see that, a lot of the detail, but it's all gray. So he's looking at the grays one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm watching you shoot these fireballs and stuff, and racing around the track." And I was like, "Oh, cool," but I didn't really think about what he was saying, so I wasn't thinking about fireballs. I wasn't sure how my guy was shooting fireballs, but I was all right. It is what it is. And then I find out it's this engine. So obviously, there's a big difference between an engine that's got a cone on it. And this looks like an intake, and like a jet engine. And then you get to this thing that looks like a meat grinder, kind of a death hole in there. And this is like a totally different kind of a thing. So I don't know what all the thinking was there. Anyway, so this is what we have, and trying to find pictures of this are pretty difficult to tell what's going on. So once again, you just have to kind of take your best guesses and use your artistic license. There, it looks like, definitely I can make some changes to what I have so far. It looks like there's it looks like this would go in again. It looks like I forgot or wasn't paying attention. And there should be like another thing in here. Like this. And then there's this part. Yeah, the whole thing is wrong in the front here, I think. So you always go back and then, stuff looks different on different days. I don't know how that is. So if we're talking about the front... Hey, what are you doing? What's going on, Banana? Yeah? Oh. So there's a banana right over there. She's making sounds, trying to get in here to do her monkey business, but can't let that happen because she loves to smash the keyboard big time. So this is kind of like this, I think, a bit more. And it looks like there's a ring. Like this, with a bunch of bolts on it. So how I missed that the first time around, not exactly sure. So there's that. And then this looks like it's still pretty thin though. So we're gonna say this is what, I don't know, inch plated steel with looks like it's got a bunch of bolts going back into, oh boy, I heard my daughter fall over. Some kind of weird bracket thing here. But this stuff's totally crazy. But the stuff they come up with is really nutso. I don't know if I told you, but she got her first lightsaber today. She's about 1 year and 3 months, I think. And I have an ultra saber in my room, in our room back there, that's blue and makes no sound. But we went to go get her a blue lightsaber, and for some reason the blue lightsaber cost $29 at Target, but then the Darth Vader lightsaber, the red lightsaber, just cost $15. So I was like, well, we should just get her the Darth Vader one. Like, what am I supposed to do? Then there's like, it's hard to see, but there's like a weird plate, another big plate here that looks like it's flat, more flat on one side. It looks like there's a big bracket here that goes over or comes off of the stuff with all the bolts on it. Hey! It's going to be coming off the piece that's got the bolts on it. So that's this. It's coming off this. It's going back. Oof, man, this is a bit of a head hurting. But I want to try to get all these details in there, because you have to figure out, I think, what all, at least for me, you have to figure out what all the weird little details are so you know how to simplify them later on. I don't want to just guess on all this stuff. It's just, there's too much weird stuff going on to just try to make it up. I don't like to make it up. Someone already spent a bunch of time trying to make this stuff look super cool. So the least we can do is try to get some of that in there. So I think this is kind of looking right. Like I said, this is all this stuff looks crazy. It's kind of a big piece that wraps around at an angle, so that's going to be like this. Because there's a mix of round pieces on here, and then there's some straight, big, crazy industrial pieces. So that's kind of the most I can get out of this part of the drawing. Looks like there's fins on this thing too. Yeah, it's really hard to see from that angle. So this angle is also pretty dark. Oh yeah? What kind of replicas was he making? I'm curious. And so this, as you can see, this picture does not really tell me anything else. So, basically we're into just make it up land. So I think that most of this is probably pretty cool. I think that back here there's a bigger thing that's wrapping around here. So you can do that. So that'd be wrapping around. It would cut up into this. I mean, you would think I would just draw with like a blue pencil, like the pros or whatever. I don't know, man. I could never get used to drawing with that blue pencil. Supposedly that should save me like a bunch of misery, but I don't know. I think I just like the misery, like the paraphernalia of it all. Okay, so here's the rocket launcher. Or the fireball launcher. I guess there's not really a rocket in there. I think it's just shoots a big ass fireball out. So here's this. There's this. Got to draw on these bolts. We got this, and then inside you would see even more stuff. And then here's like the generator, fireball generator hole. I guess is way back down in here somewhere. So got something kind of like that. Looks pretty sloppled. Alright. That. Like I said, I like to just do all my big crazy lines with the pencil. That. Can't tell what's on the back of this thing really. Depends on what drawing you're looking at. So for me, I'm just there's like some wiring back here and a couple of little nubs, and I guess these are like going to be some like vents. They have to vent out that extra fireball gas, I guess. So that's that. The fireballs. Then we got these wheels. I think the wheels are pretty close. Oh, lightsaber replicas. I didn't read that part. Yeah. You can go down quite the rabbit hole on that stuff, too. I wonder, how crazy he was going with that stuff. Because I think there's some guys that want to make it out of all the original parts as well. As opposed to, you can get guys who can just 3D print all the parts, as opposed to using the actual parts. So, people who are deep into the Star Wars stuff know that a lot of that stuff came from these flash photography handles, like these weird handles that was for a flash of some kind of camera. I don't know. I guess it was probably British. And then, you see those for sale every once in a while, but I think everyone started buying those things up like crazy. So I don't know really if you can even make them out of those parts anymore. This back bracket on this wheel back here is pretty hard to figure out what's going on. Center of the wheel is probably here. So there's some kind of a brackety something, because I was looking at, it's hard to see on this picture, but you can see there's one wheel, there's another wheel, and then there's this weird kind of a tail bracket, or I don't know what you'd actually call it. I guess there's just a weird suspension. Comes up like this. So we're just going to say it looks like this. There's the other wheel over here. Now we're over to this other crazy nonsense. These wheels seem, pretty thin, I guess, compared to everything else. I guess they can support a lot of weight. So, I'm trying to do like the wackadoo, cartoony, distorted, kind of wheel. Because I think that, those video games I was talking about being influenced by are pretty cartoony. So I think I can kind of get away with a little bit of this over-exaggerated Looney Tunes looking like wheel action going on here. Sounds like everyone's having fun. There's this. And so it looks like this thing is totally driven by this kind of crazy thing up here. So Mark's asking about what I wear. So when we were doing these scenes, I'm wearing those same crazy ass gray pajamas you've seen probably a bunch of pictures of people wearing when they do these kinds of films. So it's pretty much all CGI films. You end up wearing a gray suit. When there's that much CGI, I guess you're in the gray suit. So the only thing that was on me that's real in the scenes where where I look like this, I'm really wearing like the aviator's hat, and I'm really wearing the goggles, and they really did like the prosthetics and everything on me to make the jaw and all that other stuff. So yeah, I didn't wear anything. Surprisingly, in that movie, there's not a lot of. I'm trying to think how to say this. There wasn't like a lot of costuming on like the main characters who were cyborgs. So, for instance, Zapan, that's Ed Skrean's character. Same thing. I mean, he had his makeup on his head, and then everything else is gray pajamas. And so he was just walking around in his gray pajamas. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think of some other guys. Well, then of course Alita was all, she was in a gray suit, also. And even with her clothes and stuff, they would shoot. You'd have to have a stand-in would go in and stand in, and they'd get tons of photo reference for the costumes. But then those costumes were just made in the computer. So they would look at the costumes that we had in the costume department. They'd take them, they put them on the stand-in. They get tons of lighting reference and a bunch of other stuff, and then they just end up making the whole costume again in the computer. I'm not sure. Like, I'd like to know why or how how the costs break down. I guess it would be harder to keep the clothes and then build her. I'm sure the problem has to do with marrying her to the clothes. If they were just going to try to use, say, the real clothes that were shot on the stand-in or whatever, it's just easier for them to do it all CGI. I guess. I mean, I'm sure someone out there has the answer. Hey, what's up? What's up, Star? So we were just talking about Alita and the how they would shoot the reference for the clothing, and then they do all that stuff in the computer. Because Mark was asking what I wear, when I was playing Exploder, and pretty much like all those things you see, all the making of, I was just wearing gray pajamas. pretty romantic, I guess. And then you can see actually a lot of that stuff you can see in Cinefex magazine. Did a really cool breakdown of all that stuff, and I don't know what issue that was. I think for some reason it couldn't have been 33. Maybe it's 133. Maybe was the issue number. But I've been dreaming about, and looking at CineFX magazine since I was like pretty young. So to be in CineFX magazine for any reason was, for me, like totally amazing. So I'm coming in with a big 6B, just to do the heavy work, do some heavy lifting here. The other, like I said, from one side to the other, this guy's not he's all asymmetrical. Nothing is the same. Yeah, the CGI was all done by Weta Digital. So I think they're pretty much must be like the top of the game now. I think they're doing all the Avatar stuff too. They just get it. It's just looks great. So I guess that Weta Digital would have started with I imagine all the Lord of the Rings stuff. It's Peter Jackson's company. And then, they do stuff for other people, obviously. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the credits, you see how many people it takes to do all the digi stuff. It's just crazy. And I think there was, if I'm not mistaken, of course, I believe they start working right away. I mean, as soon as they can, they're trying to start working on all their CGI stuff. But I believe after we were done shooting, I think the film didn't come out for another, I want to say 9 months or something. I could be wrong. Someone probably has better information than I do. To me, like, all that shit was a blur. It was a lot of work. I can't imagine all the work the CGI people did, but for everyone that was working in Austin, the crew was like 500 plus people. There was big sets. There's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to build. Yeah, so I mean that stuff took forever. So here's the wackadoo wheel setup. I don't even know if I like it. This one's like a little bit, maybe too wacky. You can bring this one back this way, I think, a little bit. And to me, I think it's all about the feel. I think that you could do something that is, there's someone probably talking, would look at this and be like, man, the perspective looks, is off, and this should be like this, but to me, like, it just has to feel right and feel like he's moving. And I would say, since he's trying to move up a wall, this way, and see, this is, I should probably have an eraser, a bigger eraser, or I should plan these things out. That's not how I do stuff. So it's a lot of misery. But when you look at this now, and you look at this wheel, like, to me, if he's going up a wall, then this wheel would be like out over here a bit more. The thing that's also weird is these things are strangely independent. This thing has a couple of stabilizing arms, and so even the perspective is weird on this one. This wheel seems like it's stationary, where this wheel is, I don't know if this is the turning wheel, but it definitely has like a different attitude than this. It's not in the same plane. If it was, like, it would be sitting up like this. I mean, if it was on a fixed axle. So I guess you have a little bit of leeway there. So yeah, it's just about trying to get the feel down. And so I do tons of erasing. I do a lot of redrawing. I do a lot of thinking while I'm drawing, and I mean, I kind of like it. I really like talking and drawing. It kind of helps a bit. I think that this wheel. See, I'm getting kind of out of control now. I feel like it can almost even cheat way over here. Might try that. And this might all be wrong by tomorrow when I look at it. I might just decide that all that was garbage. But we have a fixed wheel, and then we have another wheel that even looks smaller. Probably not. It's probably the same size, but it has like that different attitude. So this is kind of like the side view. This is the other wheel. I think the other wheel is going to end up being over here. It's going to make a little more sense, I hope, or not. I'm going to have a T-shirt with some whack ass wheels on it, and then you know. But yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. Looks like we've been it's 8:02. It's about an hour. I think an hour is probably good. So you can see it's a total mess. But this is what happens. This is how I draw this whole other thing. It's all gonna change actually probably by the next time you see it. So I'm starting to pick up on the rest of his body that's down here. All right, so we'll call this what the F. Yeah. We'll call this what the F happened? Question mark. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad someone likes to watch the process. But yeah, I'll probably end up back from scratch somewhere. Because I was looking at, he's got this weird, like I guess that's his lower half. I guess that's his pelvis. So really, for this to make sense, that big pelvis part would be down here, which is cool, or it can be pitched forward, pitched that way. And then that goes back to stabilizing these back legs, which is fine. I'm trying to make him look like he's flying down the thing here. But that would mean that these wheels have to be over here somewhere. Over here, and then this one would be kind of over here. So it looks like a crazy person is trying to show you the map to Grubb's Tavern. Meet me in front of Grubb's Tavern if you want me to show you where the gold is. And that's from, I think that's from Tim and Eric. What's up? Why are you not in bed, critter? Can you hear this critter? So yeah, it looks like he just needs some more thinking. I definitely have some homework to do tomorrow. I don't really want to keep drawing this thing for another 2 sessions or so. So probably what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to think about it. Probably do like another drawing and then maybe do another video tomorrow. I don't know. I just want to make sure to get this this going a little faster. The thing that happens for me, like I don't draw fast, is one of my downfalls, I would say. I also don't draw probably enough because of all the other stuff that I do. So I don't know if this is just taking like a hilariously long time, or if this it is what it is. So I can take the good and the bad from this. I can probably do some tracings. I can probably work on the perspective. I'm pretty jazzed with. I mean, I like all of everything else that's going on. We have a face that I think is usable. It's figuring out this pelvis situation. It's making me nuts. I think that it actually should be more like this. And it's also it's wider too than I kind of drew it. So it'd be kind of like this. And then this side goes like that. I think that probably looks pretty right, pretty good, or well, definitely better than whatever was going on. So you have that, and you have some little beep boop 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 boops in here, some doodads and whatnots. I would say that this is probably right. Then off of here, like I could probably figure out the rest of this a lot better. Let's go to the wheel. Off of this is his sockety things for these wheels. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out. It's a work in progress. Please make sure to like this video. Leave comments like you have no idea what you're doing, and your pencil is squeaky or whatever. And we'll meet up again soon. If not tomorrow, definitely Monday. There's Rat Talk always is going on. And we'll do some more talking about all this other kind of cool projects that are going on. But this was mainly in support of the Hugo project. I gotta still sell 1,900 raffle tickets. So that's a lot of raffle tickets. I need to get rid of them. I want to sell them because I need to. I want to, be able to get you guys all the cool prizes, even if you don't win the big jacket, the big giveaway. So join me again. Have a good night. Take it easy. All right, bye bye.